Hello, I'm Clayton Barrows, and in this video I'll show you how to get started using some of the capabilities that we've developed on the Scalable Integrated Infrastructure Planning Initiative at NREL, or SIIP. Before we get started, make sure you have the following things installed on your machine. First, we'll start with the Julia programming language. The latest version is fine, so currently that's version 1.5.3. Also have, it's handy to have Git, a version of Git on your machine so that you can get the latest version of the SIIPExamples repository. I also find it quite useful to have a development environment like Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code has some nice extensions to make Julia useful, as well as Git and other things like that. So I tend to use Visual Studio Code a lot. I won't use it for this video, but I do recommend it for more advanced usage of SIIP. So we'll be starting by getting you set up to run some of the SIIPExamples notebooks. The notebooks themselves are auto-generated from other Julia scripts, but exist in this repository. So we'll get started so that you can run, for example, a notebook that looks like this. So first thing, is to have Julia. Once you have Julia installed, you can go ahead and open Julia. First thing that we'll want to do is add iJulia, which is, we'll go ahead and download Conda if you don't have it, and we'll set you up so that you can run the notebooks directly from the Julia REPL, which is this terminal. So to do that, pressing the right square bracket, that one, moves you into the package manager mode. So the cursor turns blue, and then you can add and remove packages and manage your environments in this mode. So first thing to do would be to type add iJulia, which goes ahead and downloads the dependencies so that you can run a notebook. It will ask for a response if you would like to download Conda. If you don't have Conda installed, go ahead and type yes. Otherwise, you can follow the instructions to connect your currently installed Conda with iJulia. I won't do it because I've already done that here. So the next step is to, once you have downloaded and extracted or get cloned a version of the SIIPExamples repository, go ahead and navigate to that terminal, or to that file location. To do that, you can move in the REPL to the shell mode, and you can do that by typing the semicolon command. And so typing the semicolon command turns the shell terminal red and enters the shell mode, and then you can navigate using the syntax of whatever shell you're in. So in this case, on Windows, the default Julia REPL is in PowerShell. So, and I can navigate to where my SIIPExamples repository is downloaded. And now that I'm in that repository, I'm going to want to activate and instantiate the environment that we are in. So again, going to the package manager mode, we go ahead and do activate, and dot to say activate this particular environment. And this goes ahead and points at the different packages that are dependencies of the SIIPExamples package. Next step is to instantiate it. This will go to the Julia Package Manager website and download and install all the packages that are part of that are listed in the environment. This does take a while, and it also can be fraught with issues with the firewall if your firewall restricts which HTTPS requests you can make. So I do recommend sometimes getting a connection outside of a firewall if that's an issue for you. So I've already done this instantiate command, and then which does take a while. Again, if it's the first time you've run this, it may take a half hour or so. So the next step is to check the packages that are in your environment. So the st command lists what packages are loaded in your environment or installed in your environment, and then finally, so once you have all the packages downloaded, you can do using iJulia. So deleting the backspace or delete button will get you out of the package manager mode into the Julia mode of the REPL. And then using iJulia will load the iJulia package, and then a notebook. Just go ahead and start a notebook. We can call the notebook command with, and then if you want to, you can specify a directory so that we don't have to start at the root. I do find that to be useful. And I can point it directly at the notebook. That will go ahead and start a Jupyter notebook server and then open a notebook in my browser. And this Notebook Explorer will open at the notebook folder, which is essentially the notebooks folder in the repository. And then I have options for the different examples that we've included in SIIPExamples in the introduction, or power systems examples and power simulations examples. So just starting with the introduction, this is a simple introduction to Julia and general Julia, nothing specific to power systems or any of the SIP tools, but it's useful to get started if you're not familiar with the Julia language. I originally created this notebook in Julia 1.4.1, but I have a more recent version of Julia installed on my machine. It's useful it won't run right now until I select the right kernel. So switching the kernel to 1.5.3, the kernel will start up, and then I can execute the different cells in the notebook by pressing Shift Enter. And as soon as the kernel starts up, it will execute, and now you have live code running in this notebook. And so it prints the hello world, and you can navigate through here. There are a number of other notebooks in the SIIPExamples that go through various levels of technical detail on both power systems and power simulations. I won't go through those now, but a high-level overview is that power systems examples include examples of parsing data and creating system representations of that data, everything from simple 5-bus cases to the RTS GMLC test network, all the way up to a synthetic version of the US network. Power simulations goes through the capabilities that exist in PowerSimulations.jl and shows examples of various modeling capabilities, including single step operations problems. So that's multiple periods, but a single problem, and into sequential problems so that you can solve one day after another of optimization problems, and other examples of how to change modeling formulations that you apply to the data and treat things in different ways. It does have an example of a large-scale simulation on that US test system as well. And I think this focuses on Texas, but it has data for the entire US. Thank you. I hope you find this useful, and if you have any feedback, please let us know either through issues on the SIP examples repository, or you can get in touch with us on Slack or via email. Again, thank you.